In Ayn Rand's last public lecture, it's brilliant. I can't seem to find the spot that I was looking for where she said that the philosopher Schiller, we don't want to go that way. And I'll just say what I think that I understand here, because I don't know. She's very intelligent. I'm just a dum-dum. I was never a business person. I kind of was thinking that the end of the world was coming all way back since I was 5 years old, so I never planned for any life. But I just lived it and I watched. But she says, when she talked about Schiller and she talked about, how they tried, when you can't try to mush the politics and church together, family values. Now we have to look back and say she's right. And the reason why I say she's right is because I've always looked at things that it only works when it works, and you can only see that in hindsight with your own eyes, empirical evidence. We should stick to what works or what has worked in the past, and you can only tell that by allowing it to have moved through time. What they've done is take out the fourth dimension, which is time, and try to say that you can hop from the third dimension to the fifth dimension, or whatever they're saying. It's fantasy. And fantasy is really the problem. I used to think that I was very pragmatic, and I thought that utilitarianism and communism was very pragmatic, but no, they're fantasy too. And fantasy is what we are up against. This idea of, if you think it will be true, whatever's in your thoughts, and there's so many people that are chiming in on that garbage. That is absolutely fantasy. We need to look back and see what really works, because we can figure this out, because there has been a death. They have been smothering us up since they found DNA. It only started working in around 1988. And so everything has been purposefully covered, and they want to replace it with some fantasy religion. And it's still religion, because religion comes from the word ligare, which means you're bound up, you're tied. It's like a ligament, ligatures. That's where the word religion comes from. It's from ligare, which is a rope. You're tied to it. And what we want to do is untie ourselves and bring out the best in ourselves. And once we do, then we have the right kind of justice and the right kind of people that are hired to be beat cops like Whistling Smith. We will want naturally what is good for ourselves. And by that umbrella, then people standing under our umbrella benefit. This is the opposite of the poison umbrella of the wickedness of this world. And we have to cut through and realize that any kind of fantasy thinking is not in our favor. We don't need fantasy thinking. We don't need positive thinking. In fact, all pollution has a positive ionic charge. And the point is that even if you didn't believe Ayn Rand back in the 80s, at least now you've got 40 years to look back and say, you know what, we were wrong. Fantasy thinking is wrong. All of this fantasy thinking has got to we need to sort of take that down a notch. Stop loading us with fantasy, because those are the same people that, like, if you're a young person, you're experimenting, you're getting high on pot, they're saying, just go with the flow, man. Oh, don't think that there's anything wrong, man. Oh, no, don't think negative, man. It's the same thing. So I'm going to bring my love of practicality here, because that never left me. That's always been with me, and it will always stay. That there's plenty of time for fantasy in your life. There's room for that. But when people allow fantasy to color every single thing, you're just lying to yourself. It's not real. And reality is what we need. So I'm going to go to Lin Yutang and the Importance of Living. He divided life into 4 things: dreams, reality, and humor, and something else. But you've got to have that reality mixed with dreams, mixed with humor, and that's wisdom. Everybody's got different proportions of this, and when you have it imbalanced, then you've got your extremism. You've got extremism.